has started.
Okay. Welcome to Audible Angels Live. This is Earth Angel Marlena, and today my special guest is Patrick Prohaska. He is the creator of Lightbridge Academy, an author, teacher, and amazing healer. And Patrick has helped thousands of people shine with personal power, joy, and authenticity. He specializes in personal empowerment, and today we are going to be talking about taking back our personal power and beyond that, whatever comes up. All too often, people unknowingly shut down parts of themselves and don't even realize it. This may happen from hurt, criticism, fear, or negative beliefs. No matter what has happened to trigger those feelings of disempowerment, it impacts your life in many ways, in your health, your relationships, your finances, and just your emotions. So with the past 2 years of dealing with all the stress we've all been subject to, I felt it was like the best time to begin taking back our power, our personal empowerment. And I invited the most powerful and gifted master healer, of course, in that field, Patrick Prohaska, to my podcast today. So I want to welcome Patrick to the show. Welcome, Patrick. How are you today?
I am doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome. What I was feeling today is just like stress and overwhelm in the collective. So I really wanted to, invite as many people as possible to the call, and those that missed the call to make sure that they get the, replay of it, because it's very important that we all get together on platforms like this and, regain our empowerment, because in small ways or in big ways, we don't realize that certain things or people or events, TV, can really, knock us off of our balance. I call it our balance. So when you're in balance, you know it. You feel good, you're, joyful, you feel radiant, alive and productive, right? But yeah. And so my questions will be, geared towards this empowerment. So my first question for you, Patrick, and I know you are a professional and you already know the answer in your, mind and your spirit. So can you share with us, what are some of the ways people give away their power?
There are countless ways people give away their power. It's pretty amazing to observe the way people, well, first of all, what I need to say is that everybody has much more power than they give themselves credit for. We are deeply, richly imbued with power. Every single one of you is a powerful force of nature. And we often misuse that power because we get caught up in things that siphon our power from us, or try to use our power against us, or use our power to make money and so forth. And we don't realize that we're getting swept up in whatever the disempowering activity is. So for me, there are lots of examples in the modern world where we give away our power. Just the activities that we do on Facebook and social media and so forth, those can be very, very deeply empowering and beautiful experiences, but we typically don't have that experience. On Facebook, for example, the algorithm that they use is designed to send you posts that are going to spark an emotional outburst of some sort. So they send you a lot of stuff that's going to stimulate your anger and your outrage. And we get caught up in that. We give our power to Facebook and we feel dirty, we feel bad, we feel unbalanced after we go through our Facebook feed. So that's just one example of many. I would say the number one way that we give our power away is we live our lives based on other people's terms. And we're trained from childhood to conform to other people's expectations. And other people have agendas that aren't necessarily our happiness. Their agendas are their peace and happiness. And so we have all of these bogus limitations and phony expectations placed upon us that are not designed to help us live a rich and full life. They're designed to keep us in control and to prevent us from doing anything that, those sources of authority would find upsetting or annoying. So when you live your life on somebody else's terms, when you live somebody else's dream for you, you've given your power away. I want to give a third example that's really important. We give our power away whenever we hold a grudge against people who have victimized us. So if you live in grudge energy and you really have that feeling deep down inside of you that you cannot have peace until the person who wronged you has been punished in some way, well, then you've made your peace dependent on their experience, and you've actually given your power to the very person who hurt you when you do that. So letting go of grudge energy, letting go of the triggers that cause us to erupt with outrage when we see something upsetting on Facebook and so forth, those are ways of taking back your power. And, in the past couple of years, all of that has been stimulated tremendously. We have had several years, I'd say about 5 or 6 years, in fact, of turmoil and chaos. And that makes perfect sense when you look at it in cosmological terms, because we are emerging into a new age of higher dimensional awareness. And in the previous age, which was very much grounded in the three-dimensional world and in linear time and linear space, a lot of people amassed a lot of power in that old paradigm. And they're invested in the old way of seeing the world. They're invested in the old way of using their power. And there's been a lot of turmoil in the past several years as many of us are opening up to a new way of living in the world. So the goal for us isn't to degrade our emotions and slip into the us versus them mentality and the anger and outrage and people who don't want to go along for the ride into the new age. The goal is for you to take back your power and just live your life in the best way that you can, embrace your joy, embrace your dreams, and move forward on your own, and just realize the other people will catch up with us eventually. That's perfectly fine. So we don't have to worry about them.
Yeah.
So, does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I was thinking back as you were talking about, like, when we're small children, we really don't have a say, you know what I mean? And if you remember, like, maybe one time or so when you got in trouble by your parents and they were yelling and whatever, and you stomped your feet, and went to your room because you felt, under their control, and you got angry, and, without realizing it, that gets embedded inside of you. All right, that emotion. So when we get to a certain age, something might trigger it. And you start acting like that kid, stomping your feet. You didn't get your way. So basically what you were saying is we learned, to be a victim.
In a sense, yes. We learned that our power is not ours. We learned that the power exists in the authority figures and that we have to conform. Now, of course, that's not true of everybody. And it's not an either-or proposition, that there are various shades and various degrees for how this emerges. But essentially, we as children are open books. And our parents are godlike figures in our minds, because we as children are completely and utterly helpless. We're vulnerable. We would die without our parents protecting us, or without a society in place to protect us. So we learn very quickly that we have to rely and depend on those authority figures. And at the same time, those authority figures are trying to train us to be, non-disruptive in their world and to conform and to fit in and so forth. So you're right, in childhood, there's a lot of punishment and reward going on that sometimes can scar us. It can be well-meaning, but it can also be pretty traumatic, especially, we get a lot of mixed signals. So I'm thinking right now about what happens a lot of times with girls in our society. They're taught that they're powerful and that they can have their dreams and so forth. And then in adulthood, we punish them. Society punishes women for being too assertive or too aggressive and so forth. And it doesn't make any sense to tell a child that she has power when she's a child and then punish her for trying to use her power when she gets older. So it's just one example of many about the way we have these imbalances embedded into the old age of Pisces way of doing things that are going to resolve themselves as we go deeper into the age of Aquarius.
Yeah, thank God. I remember, my dad was a screamer, and he had to have control. He had to have his way. And when I grew up, I learned that his family had the same exact system in place. So when I became an adult and my sisters became adults, I noticed that two of them, actually, the oldest and the youngest, got rid of their children, okay? So the children live with the fathers, okay? And then my one sister's in heaven now, and her and I both were very good parents, and we did the opposite of what our parents did with us. We were loving and, guiding them and, pushed them forward and encouraged them. And it was just amazing to watch how two went one way and two went another. And that's a thing I notice in a lot of people's, stories. They will say to me, like, I was the one, that did everything for my family, and they just turned their back on me, and they have that story. So when we get to a certain age, that story and it's anger, right? And frustration and feeling, less than, not important. And they feel left out of the love. And if we're not loved, Patrick, like you were saying, if we're not taken care of, we start to die, in more ways than one. And, when you're not accepted and you're feeling down and disempowered, we have to come to a space where we take back our power. And how do we do that on our own, right? It's very difficult because we were dragged through the mud, so to speak. We're dragged through their patterns and their belief systems, and all we know is what they taught us. That's all we know.
Yes.
And if I tell you the sky is blue and your family said it's green, we're going to argue, right? 1 + 1 is 2. And you went to school and they said 1 + 1 is 3. We're going to argue. So that's why we're all arguing on the planet, because we are just, out of agreement and out of love and out of sync with nature and our personal being. We're all looking at everybody else. What are they doing? What are they wearing? You know what I mean? Where are they going? What are they saying? Are they laughing at me? We're all programmed. And in the past, like since I moved here to Florida, in 6 years, I have changed so much from New York style, mindset, the way they were living and acting, reacting to people. Down here, it's so different. It's so calm. The people are pleasant, they're happy. Even the homeless people are loving, considerate, kind people. If I'm sitting in my car with the door open, just, getting air in a parking lot, people will come over. Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, in New York, they slam the door on your legs. So, it's a different mentality. And since this, virus thing has happened, believe it or not, even with people with the mask on or not, they're still hugging, You know what I mean? They're not afraid of each other, which society wants us to be afraid of one another. Don't hug, stay away, don't date. They're trying to program us into something else, and I'm rebelling. And I have hugged people in parking lots. They would walk up to me and start crying out of the blue, telling me their story. And I noticed that would happen to me all through my life. I must have had a note on my head, tell me your problems. I don't know. But I guess it's part of what I'm here for. And it must be a vibration that I send out. So I just wanted to, bring you on today, because I know that there's a gift inside of you that just flows out. And when people come forward with, a question or, something going on, that you are able to assist them. And this beautiful, energy that's here today is just love. It's unconditional. There's no judgment here. And that's what I wanted to bring forward on the podcast. There's no judgment here. And everybody is equal, male and female, right? No matter what your background was. Mine was no fun, all right? But I make my life fun every day, even during this. But I wanted to ask you, Patrick, would you be able to share maybe one of your testimonials or two, whatever, where someone maybe gave away their power or lost their personal power, and they came to you and you were able to help them get it back? That would be fascinating.
Some anecdotes from clients of mine. I actually have an entire book of those. My book, Brain Cells, Escape Your Mental Prisons, is all about how I've helped people in my practice overcome their disempowerment, let's say. So a couple of examples. There was one client that I was working with for a long time who was deeply, deeply caught up in fear energy and was basically scared of everything. And because she was essentially scared of everything, whenever somebody told her something scary, she would believe it automatically. She had this victim narrative in her mind that was driving her to accept every single story about what to be scared of. So she developed over time this long list of 1 million different things to live in fear of. And she was essentially, if you went to her Facebook feed, it was nothing but the threat of the day. Be scared of this, be scared of that, be scared of this. So fear is magnetic. And if you are afraid of something, you basically give it the power to hurt you. There are all sorts of things out there that we react negatively to through the nocebo effect. And of course, the nocebo effect is very similar to the placebo effect. It's basically, if you think something is going to hurt you, you have a belief that something is dangerous, it's going to be dangerous for you. You will have the experience of suffering when you come into contact with that thing that you're scared of. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's actually hurting you, but your belief system creates your experience in the world. And she came to me one day because she was just consumed with fear, because she had heard that there were Arab terrorists with Ebola coming into the United States across the southern border, which is kind of silly, but she believed it, and she was horrified. She thought that she was going to die of Ebola, and so would her friends. And so it took a while. I worked with her for a long time to recognize that her fear was driving her to believe anything and everything that people said to her. And eventually she was able to take back some of that power. Now, the reason she was in that condition is because of her childhood experiences and growing up in a family where everyone was scared of their own shadow, and it was trained. She learned it. And when something is trained from childhood, it can take a while to reverse that training and to develop new belief systems. But over time, she was able to let go of those fears and begin to go out into the world again. one of the consequences that she was facing of all that fear-driven energy was that she had become isolated. She would stay at home alone all the time. She was scared to go out. She was scared to go to parties or interact with friends. She wouldn't go on dates because she was scared that she'd get hurt. And her life just deteriorated. It decayed from within. And eventually, she was able to recognize that, yes, there are threats in the world, and you can protect yourself against those threats. But she stopped going through life with what I call brace for impact energy. You know what I'm talking about? You can see it in some people. They, no matter what they're doing, they look like they're walking on ice and they're about ready to fall down at any moment. And their shoulders are hunched forward and they're essentially bracing for impact. Well, whatever energetic pattern you carry justifies itself. If you're carrying the energy of brace for impact, that energy creates a condition where you have to brace for impact. Whatever energy you radiate eventually justifies itself by creating those conditions in your world. So as we were able to shift her more into her joy and to let go of all that body armor that she was wearing, that thick, super thick heart wall that was weighing her down, she began to walk through life with more grace and elegance, and that was the energy she began to radiate, and things that supported that began to miraculously just manifest themselves in her life. That is power. Whatever energy you have creates the conditions that support it in your world. That is your power, and it can be for good or for bad. If you have joyful, blissful, self-loving energy, the universe supports that by reflecting that energy back to you with opportunities to love yourself even more. If you live in fear of absolutely everything, then the universe reflects that energy back to you with opportunities to be scared. So that's basically law of attraction in action. And it's up to us to decide what energy we're going to radiate. It's up to us to figure out if we want to go through life attracting the things that make us feel bad because we're obsessed with them, or do we want to go through life attracting joyful and fun experiences and beautiful social friendships and so forth. It's up to us to make that decision. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's beautiful, because it's like, someone who probably was brought up in a fear-filled house, and everybody was on guard. But it may also be from, past life experiences in that family lineage, right?
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Yeah.
A lot of the work I do with people is clearing family heritage and cultural heritage, past life, and family traditions as well. And trauma is often a family tradition, especially physical and sexual abuse. Physical and sexual abuse tends to be a family tradition.
Yeah.
And it has to be broken.
Right. Well, we had emotion. We had emotional and physical in the house, okay? And my mom gave away her power, right? And sat back, scared, shaking in the bedroom, you know what I mean? He's at it again. So, there was a point where, I don't know if I was 11 or 12 years old, and I remember many nights he would go in a rage and she would cook dinner, and the mashed potatoes had a lump in them, a lump. And we didn't have the mixers back then. We had that, thing you press. And he would scream about the lump, and he'd tip the table over so nobody ate, right? So I'm a kid, and I got fed up, and I went in the kitchen one night, and I said mashed potatoes again because of him. He loved them. And I said, let's do this to him. I said, give me all the milk you got in the house and all the butter. And I poured it into mashed potatoes, Patrick, and I made them like water. I mean, they were water potato. And I said, there, now serve them. You cooked them. And he didn't say one word that night. There was no lumps to yell at. So I think I froze them. And I thought, but I learned to walk on eggshells. And then when I got married, all right, at first the man was, all Little House on the Prairie. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And in a week, I would work and he would have a day off, and he'd pick me up at 5:30 at night. And the minute I got in the house, he'd say, "What's for dinner?" And my mind would go into, I just blanked and got done with work. Didn't you eat all day? He's like, "No." I'm like, "You did not eat from 7 a.m. until 5:30 at night. You waited for me to cook. I'm not your mother." So my mind went into, I'm not your mother, right? Mm-hmm. So I was keeping my power. And I went to work and my boss said, "What's wrong with you?" And I busted out crying. He said, "Come in the office." And he was so like a counselor. It was awesome. And he said, "Do this, do that." And I started doing what he told me to do. And things started shifting. So I was receiving help from places you wouldn't even realize that you would get some help. I would never break down in public, but I did then. I had to keep my power up all the time. I didn't want to lose my power and let anybody see that I had a problem, because they kept coming to me as a kid, until now. So now I'm like, I'm going to cry when I feel, sad. But, is there somebody maybe that was, because I have a couple of people that come to me and they were abused, sexually. Are there people that come to you that were, sexually abused, or the abuser from a pattern that you have helped to set them free from that, so they no longer live in that state of guilt, shame?
Oh, yes, absolutely. That's actually most of the work that I do is with people who have been abused in some way, especially sexual abuse. But there are a couple of practical follow-ups I want to have for what we were talking about before that I think are really essential. So things that people can do to take back their power, even if just by a tiny bit. So you mentioned walking on eggshells. I mentioned walking around with grace for impact energy. When you're walking on eggshells, when you think about it, you're completely ungrounded. If you're walking on eggshells, you're kind of gingerly tiptoeing around for fear that you're going to fall down. There's no stability there. Your chakras on the soles of your feet are closed at that point. You're not grounded. So grounding is absolutely essential if you want to take back your power. And everyone here knows how to ground. I recommend doing it as often as you can. Just remind yourself that you are connected to planet Earth and you're anchored in place. You are loved and supported by the planet below you. If you can feel that, and you can transform that feeling of walking on eggshells into that beautiful feeling you get when you're wearing a really nice pair of shoes, and you can feel it clicking as you're walking. Or better yet, the feeling of walking barefoot on grass. Just imagine yourself grounded and powerful in your feet, and that can automatically increase your power right there. The other thing, I mentioned Brace for Impact Energy, and I mentioned how people kind of roll their shoulders forward and hunch a little bit because they're bracing for impact. Well, think about what happens when you roll your shoulders forward and down and you're slouching or you're hunching. You're shutting down your heart chakra when you do that. You're constricting and squeezing the heart chakra. And you're constricting and squeezing your ability to breathe. You can't breathe deeply when you're in Brace for Impact Energy, and all that does is further stimulate the fight or flight response and the imbalance that emerges in the autonomic nervous system and so forth. Your sympathetic nervous system goes into overdrive. So you want to counter that. You want to pull your shoulders back and down and get into proper posture. And when you pull your shoulders back and down, just everyone do it right now. Feel how your heart opens in front. It's beautiful. Now, you don't want to pull your shoulders back and down so much that you're squeezing from behind, because that's just shutting off the backside of the heart. But if you can shift your posture into a power pose with proper alignment and your shoulders back and down and your chest open, automatically you're going to start breathing more deeply. And the deeper breathing is going to soothe and balance your autonomic nervous system and take you out of fight or flight. And it's amazing to me how many of us are slouching, especially in the modern age with cell phones. We're always looking down at our cell phones. If people are beginning to get that bump in the back of their neck because their head is always pushed forward and down. When you push your head forward and down, you're actually creating weight that causes you to automatically begin slouching. So just the awareness of posture and the awareness of your grounding can automatically bring you back into a deeper sense of power. And of course, your power center, of course, that's in your stomach area, your belly. There are actually a couple of power chakras down there. When you're balanced in your feet and balanced in your hearts, your heart chakras, your power center is right in the middle of all that. So it enjoys it as well. One other thing really quickly, we need to learn to breathe deeply, way down deep in our lungs. In our society, there is a very strong desire for people to be thin. And we're trained to suck in our guts in order to look thinner than we really are. And when you suck in your gut, you stop breathing deep in the lungs. So I say let go of that. Let go of that need to constantly suck in your gut to look thinner than you really are. Breathe deeply into the belly, even if it makes your belly pooch out a little bit. Because that will bring you back into a state of power right there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, just being totally relaxed, is what I feel.
Yeah, and the thing is totally relaxed and yet poised and ready to spring into action if you need to. So it's not about being sleepy or being so relaxed that you basically aren't doing anything. It's about generating so much power within your system that you are ready to take action at a moment's notice, and yet you're relaxed at the same time. It's getting into that Zen type of mindset about action and effort. So it's effortless action.
Like emotional stability, where you feel good, and peaceful. And yet, like you were saying, if somebody knocks at your door and, you're ready to answer it, you know what I mean? At a moment's notice kind of thing, but you're not on that, what's the word? Like ready to pounce, not like a dog that's ready to attack, any stranger, things like that. Be welcoming in your, your stance, your physical being, smile.
Yeah, absolutely. We all need self-protection. Protection is important. But remember what I said earlier, that the energy that you radiate justifies itself through the law of attraction. So if you're going through life wearing a protective bubble around yourself or protective body armor, that body armor not only weighs you down, it justifies itself by giving you things to protect you from. So it's important to have protective measures and to know when to shield yourself, but not go through life constantly shielded at all times, because that just weighs you down and prevents you from taking action when necessary, or makes you hesitate before taking action, and then it's too late. And I mentioned that the breathing deep in the belly and the way we often suck in our guts because we want to be thinner, we want to look thinner. Of course, it's not true for everyone. Lots of people are perfectly thin, and it's beautiful in their thinness, and that's awesome. But the grounding is really important. So a lot of people tend to put on weight because they're ungrounded. The body wants to be grounded. Your physical body has a mind of its own, and it wants to be grounded. And if you're ungrounded and you're going through life walking on eggshells, your body is going to take the easiest path to grounding you, and that's putting on weight. So if you put on weight, you automatically are more grounded than you are if you're lighter and thinner. But it's the physical body that's driving that. So if you consciously keep yourself grounded at all times, then the body's hunger for grounding is going to diminish, and so will your cravings for food. So that's really important. You know, a lot of people, when they first step into higher dimensional awareness, they get some Reiki attunements, or they get some sort of Shaktipat experience where suddenly their body is electrified and online. Within a few months, they just start packing on the pounds because their physical body can't handle the new electricity flowing through it. It feels flighty and ungrounded, so it tries to ground you. So just for those of you who have that issue, simply focus on grounding yourself.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So you were asking the question about people that I worked with who have severe trauma of some sort, including sexual trauma and sexual abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Trauma, whatever form the trauma is in, it can be something traumatic and dramatic like a rape or a childhood sexual abuse of some sort, or it can be something that is chronic and low level, and it just happens over and over and over again over time. And I think all of us carry both of these types of trauma, the chronic and the acute. Now, what happens with trauma is that something bad happens to you and you simply don't have the time or space to deal with it in the present moment. You're in crisis mode. And the energy of that traumatic experience, it doesn't get resolved. It doesn't go away. It gets pushed down into your system. And any energy that's pushed down into your system doesn't just magically evaporate into nothing. It stays there. And it builds up. And it imprints itself on your cells. And it imprints itself on your energy system. And it becomes part of the energy that you radiate at all times. So energetically speaking, every single one of us is a symphony. We have all sorts of different notes and chords broadcasting at all times at different volumes. It's not true that you're one specific frequency. You have countless frequencies radiating from your system all the time. And even when you're in a joyful moment, that discordant note of the trauma that's unresolved can still be radiating in your system in the background. So trauma that's been internalized and it's been sucked into your system and it's imprinted itself on your physical body and in your energy field, it's constantly radiating. And through the law of attraction, the energy you radiate gets reflected back to you, and we end up reliving the traumatic experience over and over and over again. And as much as we don't want it, we continue to have that same experience or something like it over and over again until we get rid of the trauma. So that's why a lot of people, for example, they date the same abusive person over and over and over again in different bodies. Or why you end up switching jobs regularly because you can't stand the job that you're at and the next job is exactly the same. So we end up making lots and lots of lateral moves in our lives until we take back our power and we heal the trauma. So the trauma of sexual abuse, yeah, I definitely do a lot of work with people on that because people who have sexual abuse tend to be shut down and repressed, or they tend to be overcompensating for the sexual abuse and they're putting themselves in danger through their uncontrolled sexual urges. Mm-hmm. So it kind of emerges in different ways in different people, but until you can heal the trauma, it's going to continue asserting itself. And you mentioned past life trauma. We often have to heal it in the past lives. Even if you have traumatic experiences in this lifetime, Because once you get caught up in that loop where the traumatic experience is happening over and over again, the most recent examples are merely echoes of the original trauma. And you can heal those echoes, but it's much better to go back and heal the original trauma, and that has an impact on all of its echoes in the future. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's where we're both in the gifting of, all right? I go right to the root. I find the root. And it don't take me a minute because it's spirit doing it. But I wanted to also bring forth, when you mentioned, people putting up a shield around themselves, what I do find happens is they miss so many beautiful opportunities by their hiding. They have a heart wall
absolutely.
up. They miss their, relationship. And it's funny because a lot of times, the person's like, I'm lonely, I want to meet somebody, I'm scared to put myself out there because of this story, or I keep putting myself out there and no one shows up, things like that. And then when you look at it, you have to take down the heart walls, they're hidden, why they're hiding, and they don't even realize they're hiding. So, that's another thing, yes, you want to protect yourself, ground yourself, but you don't want to shield yourself from that pain. That's what we're talking about. We're dealing with the pain that we kind of hide behind, right? Like a mask. You're wearing a mask out there in public right now that people can see. But what about the mask no one can see? So when you come, to the scene, Patrick, you take the mask off. And and a lot of times they're like, wow, I didn't even know I had that. So that's an empowering moment. It's really difficult when you have to help somebody who is the assaulter, all right? It's bad enough and embarrassing enough if you've been assaulted sexually, all right? But if you are the one who is now going around, being sexually abusive to people, or like you were saying, like prostitute energy, that's embarrassing for someone to come forward and say, this is what I've been doing, and I want to be healed from it. And that would be like my day. I would cry when somebody would come out and say,
but
please.
The principle is very similar, because what drives abusive behavior in people is the abuse they suffered themselves in childhood or previous lives. So like I said, abuse becomes a family tradition. A child who has been abused is more likely to be an abuser in adulthood, even if they swear they will absolutely never be like their parents. They, over time, turn into their parents. And what you do with somebody who is an abuser is you get to their trauma and the way they were traumatized in previous lifetimes and so forth, and heal that. And that's because that's the driving force behind their current behavior. It can have an impact. Of course, you have to work on both levels. You can't just focus on the trauma, because the thing is that trauma drives our behavior. And behaviors that are repeated over and over and over again become habits. And you can clear what created the habit, but the habit will still be there because it's hardwired into the brain. So you do have to do some work to shift the habits as well. And you can find a lot of success with that.
Yeah, it does become a habit. It's like, if you notice, right, everybody do this today and throughout the week, when you get up in the morning, right, watch everything you do, all right? You get up, go to the bathroom, get a cup of coffee or juice or whatever you do, you check your cell phone, your email, you run the same thing every single day. So what I tell people is, get up in the morning, say thank you for the sleep that you had, be grateful immediately, start saying it out loud, and instead of going to the coffee pot, go right out the door. Go right out the door and get air immediately, right? And walk around for a few minutes. It's amazing how your mind is like, what are we doing? And when you start doing different stuff, you break that pattern. And it's amazing. I cook breakfast at dinner time. randomly.
Yeah.
I freak my mind out, all right? I used to run to the internet, check my email, help people immediately, and now I'm like, okay, wait a minute, me first, right? I got to take care of me. So we're dealing with people, of all walks of life, of all backgrounds, situations. Some are hiding, right? Like we were saying, they're hiding it very well indeed from other people. But when you are gifted and you are in the light, you see them, like you were saying, they're bent over, they're hunched over, all right, things like that. You notice the way they're walking, right? You notice the facial, expressions. Even with the mask on, you can see the sad eyes. You can see angry eyes. You know what I mean? You can see how they're dressed, right? And there was one healer on, and they said, all right, now I want you to get up and I want you to walk across the room. And as you're walking across the room, I want you to look down at your feet. Are they aiming straight? Is one going to the right or the left? And I was like really engulfed in the call, because then you start taking notice of how you're walking, your legs, your feet, your hips, the root chakra, grounded to the earth. Now, if you're afraid to go forward in life, your legs and feet, your hips will start to talk to you. I know mine did when I had to move here. They were hurting. They were saying, no, we're not. And they got weak, and I couldn't even walk. I was like crippled in a chair. And my friend came over, picked me up, put me in the car, brought me next to the riverbank. And they were talking to somebody. And I oozed myself out of the car and stood by the riverbank. And in about 10 minutes, my legs were all well. And I was like, thank you. But I had to keep talking to my legs, saying, it's okay. We're going forward. We are moving, whether you like it or not, right? And so I learned to talk to my body, talk to my vibration, talk to my house, right? I'm in charge. That's what I decided. I said, I'm in charge. I'm an adult now, right? And as you know, years ago, you were on a summit and I came on and I spoke or whatever, and I got your package because it was exactly what I was, in need of at that moment. And I used it for several years to keep, boosting me back up constantly.
Awesome.
And, today I said, well, this is the time to bring Patrick back on, because it's exactly what we all need right now to get back in our personal power, because the next year we're going into a total different energy. It's going to be a water year, where we've been in a metal year for 2 years, and we're going into 2 years of water. And that energy of water keeps moving, and we're going to need to keep moving. All right. Where this year we've been kind of like starting to move and stopping, maybe starting a new business, or we want to move, or we want to change a job, but we're almost frozen, right? Next year, you're not going to have that choice. So if you haven't started your book or you haven't started your business, it's time to get going now. Get it ready, because next year there's going to be some really awesome opportunities to get published, to get out there, to get, jobs. Opportunities are going to be endless for people. So It's a great time right now to bring forward your package, and then we'll take calls and see where people are at. What I want to share with everyone, this package here is for your personal empowerment, to get you back in power. And as I look through this beautiful package here, there's like 18 original recordings and a couple of, what do we want to call them, bonuses, where Patrick put in. I'm going to read through them quickly. The first track is your power of worthiness. We all need to feel worthy, all right? That's your power, your joy, your success, your fulfillment. So we definitely need that. We need all these tracks as I was reading them. The second track is the empowered mindset. And that's definitely one of your gifts, Patrick, where you assist people to get back their empowered mindset where we've been, victimized and treated, less than, and it's unfortunate that we all have been subject to it. Track 3, release us from the victim identity. And track 4 goes right with it with the trauma clearing session. So we're having sessions with Patrick as we use this package that you put together. It's really amazing. You don't even have to be there, but yet it feels like you're there. It's like your voice is so calming and soothing, and it's just powerful. And it's like I'm having a session with you. So the victim and the trauma clearing should go right together. And then after that, you get the power retention. So you get back your power from listening to that one right there. After we clear out the negative things that are happening, track 6 is aligning your power and your intention. So you want to definitely listen to that track so that you can no longer have that confusion about your goals and your intentions, okay? Track 7, your focused intention. So what is your intention, all right? Get out of that energy of, I don't know what I want, or I don't know what to do, all right? That one's gonna help a lot. And proactive power, track 8, all right? Are you living your life reactively or responsively? So that one's really powerful for me because I've been through that, all right? Track 9, alignment with universal principles. So we want to come into alignment with the energetic laws of the universe, all right? Especially the law of attraction. What are we attracting and what will we rather attract, all right? So that session with Patrick would really do us all a great benefit. Track 10, your power chakra. We were talking about that a minute ago. Your power center, your solar plexus. I call that my joy chakra. That's my joy chakra. Track 11, brain balancing session. We all need to balance our brain, left and right, male and female, totally, because recently women have been thrown into the cycle of being the man of the house in a lot of situations. So what happened to us is we got more of the male brain working, and we need to get back in our female as well and balance it out, right? Track 12, the power of authenticity. Definitely you want to speak your truth without fear of being shut down or ignored, like we're talking about, because that takes your power away. Track 13, the power of optimism. We want to purge the pessimistic mindset. All right, power of gratitude. Definitely one of my key things I do every day. Track 15, empowerment relationship. So you want to be in an empowered relationship without feeling the need to control it or manipulate or change the people. You want to be in a loving, compatible relationship where you're both empowered together, all right? And you stay, in that vibration together. Track 16, empowered finances, everyone. Okay, everybody's bank account could use this definitely, where we get into the universal principles of empowerment about money, all right? Money and joy definitely go together, all right? Track 17, embrace your purpose and your mission, all right? So some people are here going, why am I here? What's my purpose? This will help you with that, definitely. Track 18, creating a positive impact in the world. So even if you're a single mom or a single dad, right? You are here on a mission. You are definitely going to impact the world of your children. They are the future, okay? So we definitely want to take our power back and, be healed from that negative teaching and learning that we've been, all subject to. Everyone has it. So we want to make sure that we impact our, futures, all right? And the future of the world is our children. just like we are the future, right? Our parents, brought us up, and this is what we are now. We are in the future of what they created. All right. And then Patrick threw in some awesome surprise bonuses as well. And today, instead of pricing it at $297, and it's worth, more than that to me, a couple thousand, for a couple of tracks alone, the special offer is available today for $97. And I put the link in everyone's email. So all you got to do is click on that email, and you're able to grab the package and start using the tracks immediately. Patrick, how would you suggest that they use them?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that. So thank you very much for going through all of that. I really do appreciate it. So these are all audio attunement tracks. So these are designed to create energetic patterns within your system. And I invoke a little bit of a theta brainwave state in order to open up your subconscious mind to absorb the energies that are being presented. And I use light bridge attunements, which put you into alignment with your higher self. So a light bridge attunement essentially draws an energetic pattern from your higher self and applies it to you in your current egoic persona as you are right now. And the reason I turn to the higher self is because you are your higher self. Your higher self is you without all the baggage that you've been carrying. It knows exactly what you need to do in order to heal yourself. So that's a perfect source to draw energetic patterns for attunements. So these are activation sessions. So you want to listen with headphones. It's not absolutely necessary, but there are monaural beats in the background to help stimulate the subconscious mind a little bit more. And you want to take an active stance with them. It's very, very important that you take action to make change in your life. So they can be very magical. They can create profound dramatic shifts instantaneously or over a short period of time for you. But don't expect a magic wand. The magic wand mindset is basically being passive in your own healing. So you sit back, you passively let somebody do an attunement on you, and then you expect your life to be completely different without changing any of the patterns that created your mess in the first place. So I recommend staying highly active and being very proactive in your own healing as you listen to these. So thank you so much for allowing me to go through that. I have a couple of practical tips that I want to give everyone just before we move into the live callers. A couple of leftovers from our conversation previously. The first is we're going into resolution season. Everyone makes their New Year's resolutions, or a lot of us do. And the resolutions tend to fail after about a month. And the reason is because quite often we're forcing ourselves to do a different behavior rather than the limiting behavior we're trying to let go of, but we haven't really done anything yet to unwire the patterns in the brain that support the old habit. So it's important to really make your new patterns of behavior, make them habitual. They need to be ingrained into the brain over time. And that means sometimes you have to force yourself to do things. Someday you'll wake up and you won't want to do your resolution and you'll slip into the old pattern. You basically have to force yourself until it becomes a new habit and rewrites the wiring in your brain. So once again, you have to take action to really embrace your new energy and create your new energy. So just bear that in mind as we go into the new year with our resolutions. The other thing, you mentioned masks earlier, and I just wanted to follow up really quickly on that because I think this is important. Almost all of us go through lives in a deeply inauthentic manner. We're wearing masks. The masks are designed to please or to appease other people so they don't get mad at us. And if you're wearing a mask in order to please somebody else, then you're not really standing in your power, because you're, in a sense, shifting your energy to match whoever you want to please. And it's very, very confusing in relationships when you're wearing a mask and the person that you're in the relationship with is also wearing a mask. You're designing your life to please and appease this other person who's also in a state of inauthenticity. So you're even missing the mark right there. So that's why it's really important to step into authenticity and strip off those masks.
Definitely.
So thank you for letting me follow up on that from earlier.
Yeah, definitely powerful. We have a question in our chat box here from Christopher. Christopher is wondering, let me see, should he listen to one at a time and more than once? That's the first question.
So follow your intuition. It's probably a good idea to listen to one track a day, more or less, and to listen to the track maybe 2 or 3 times over the course of a month, because every time you listen, the energy will spiral down to a deeper level. And you may want to listen periodically over and over again through the years. But there's a trick that the ego has to sabotage your healing, and that is to do too much too fast. Mm-hmm. So if you get the package, listen to the entire package in one setting, you're probably overwhelming your energetic system in a way that prevents any of the attunements from going very deep. It's really amazing how the ego has a set of tricks up its sleeve to get you to sabotage yourself unwittingly. And one of them is to just do too much too fast.
Right. And is there a certain time of the day that would be best?
Not really. I would say that everyone is different, and if you follow your intuition, you'll use the package in the way that's best for you. A lot of people like to listen right before they go to bed because it does induce the beta brainwave state, which is the brainwave state that you're in when you're asleep and dreaming. So it can make you feel sleepy or lightheaded. That's why it's so important for you to not to do anything dangerous at all while you're listening. But right before bed, I think, is awesome. Some people actually listen as they're asleep. They put it on a stereo and they play the package or a track from the package as they're sleeping. And that tends to work for them pretty well. So whatever your intuition tells you to do, follow it and listen in your way.
Yeah, that's what I find. I listen to the tracks, like I'll listen once and then I'll take a break. I might go for a walk and then I'll, wait a little bit and I'll listen again so I can get like the second benefit from it. That's what I feel with me. I mean, everyone's different. What I'd like to do is unmute somebody. And if you have like a question or, something help you on the call, just feel free to speak it. And I'm going to unmute here Elizabeth and see how that goes. Saying, okay, let's see if we can open her line. Possibly. Elizabeth, can you hear me? Just wondering if she unmutes. I see your green lights going. Are you there, Elizabeth? Kind of hard to hear. I hear TV or something. Yeah, you hear it like there, but yet not able to speak.
Television.
Right. All right, so let me mute Elizabeth again and see if Elizabeth, if you're online, you can chat in the chat box that's available and possibly, I can get through to you that way, okay? Yeah, let me check this out here. Because I got chat boxes going on and everything. Okay. Yeah, and Christopher's asking if they speak directly to the subconscious mind when I'm getting the next person here.
Yes. Yes, I learned a technique several years ago where I changed the tone of my voice to speak directly to people's subconscious mind. So when you listen to them, you'll probably notice that my tone of voice is a little bit different than it is right now. And that's because I am essentially encoding theta brainwave inducing energy into my own voice as I'm speaking. So it goes directly to the subconscious mind.
You're just so gifted. So when we can't sleep, we're calling you. Yeah.
The number of times people fall asleep during my sessions or during my live events, it's amazing. I'm always getting messages from people saying, I was listening, I fell asleep halfway through.
That's awesome. Oh, wow. So we're going to unmute area code 609. And I think their name is Patrick as well. So let's see how that one goes.
Hello?
Hi, how are you? Who are we speaking with?
Oh, this is Pat Bergstresser.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
took a quick walk. I'm amazed.
So, yeah.
Thank you for all. Thank you.
Hello, Pat. Welcome.
Yes. Thank you for all your wisdom.
Thank
Each
you.
day is a new day.
Well, thank you. Oh, what can I help you with?
I don't know. Is there a message?
Oh, okay. Well, open-ended questions lead to open-ended answers, and you may get something completely different than what you're expecting.
That's okay.
Yeah, but what I'm sensing is that you need to really, really be open to opportunities in the next 4 to 6 weeks. That there are opportunities emerging around you that if you're going through your life normally, you would miss them, you would ignore them, you would see the opportunity and you'd possibly go into yes, but energy. So when opportunities emerge over the next month, avoid yes, but energy as much as you can and just get into the energy of yes. And that doesn't mean that you need to take advantage of every single opportunity that emerges, because like I said, there are a lot of them opening up for you right now.
Wow.
It's up to you to kind of look at all the opportunities and go with the ones that really make your heart sing.
What kind of opportunities are you talking about? You don't know. Yes.
Social opportunities. Yeah, social opportunities mostly. Just new people who can teach you new things about your life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you for that message. It's nice to hear that. I feel very off balance as I walk, and the energies are very strong, and I was guided to breathe in the violet light, to do that, and I release and just send love to the earth and humanity every day. I do that.
Awesome. I love violet light.
Yeah.
Yeah, I often see.
When I first clients, that's what I see. Yeah.
What I see is violet and yellow swirling through each other.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much.
So Patrick, would she benefit from this package?
Of course.
So that she notices the opportunities easier.
Yes.
Afford your package.
Well, one of the dimensions of disempowerment that we have is opportunity blindness and yes, but energy.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to my own inner guidance.
Go with your own inner guidance, but I think that with you, the yes, but energy is absolutely crucial to pay attention to, because there's often a calculation that goes into your mind about what the pros and cons are, what the benefits are, do the benefits outweigh the cons, And because our human minds are geared, they're designed to find dangers in order to protect us, the cons often seem much brighter and more dangerous than the pros do. So we go into yes but energy and we think, oh, I would love to have this thing. I would love to have this brand new car, but here's 25 reasons why it's a bad idea. So that's
well,
the yes but
I
energy.
don't usually go into that framework.
Mhm. I think it's operating in the background, and it's showing up as the number one thing that might hold you back as new opportunities emerge.
Well, I'm glad to know that they'll be coming. That's exciting.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
And I listen as to what choice I will make on those opportunities.
Mhm. Go with the one that is light and bright and airy and makes you feel good.
Yeah, right. I'm right there with you.
Wonderful. Is that,
Thank you.
Patrick, is that fear of not enough?
I guess in part that wasn't in my mind as I was saying that, but we often do fear that something is not enough to offset the cost.
Okay.
So we avoid things that.
I'm on a very strict budget. I mean, I have to be responsible for my finances too.
Right.
No.
So while you're here, is a reason, okay, to actually change that sentence you just said. All right. And Patrick knows, I work with people's finances and their mentality about it. So I pick up, energetic, sentences for people. And a good one is opposite of what you've been speaking.
Mhm.
I'm on a universal,
Yeah.
okay, universal budget, which is unlimited. I have more than enough. I have more than enough.
Yes, I've said that too. I've
All
said
right.
that too.
But when you say it, you're not believing it.
Yeah.
So
I
write
think
it down.
Okay.
I think a powerful shift for everybody to embrace right now is letting go of the spending mentality and getting into the investing mentality.
Mhm.
So every dollar you ever expend is an investment that's going to bring you a return of some sort. And when we're in the energy of spending, what we're thinking is lack. I have this money, I'm going to spend it on this, the money is gone. And we're focused on the absence of the money. When you're in the investing mentality, you're focused on what you're getting in exchange for the money that's gone out of your system. And your bank account needs a little bit of healing as well, because your bank account is very much in alignment with that spending mentality. When the money goes out, it's gone forever until you scramble to replace it.
Well, I get security, check every month.
Yeah. So, that's
that
just awareness that there's that built-in limitation on what you think the upper level is. You can embrace multiple streams of income, and money can come to you from all sorts of different sources, and then you can shift into surplus and have that attitude that you're not spending money on anything, you're investing in things that make your life better.
Right. So the fear is a big element there. Like fear of not enough, right, comes up real strong. So, I would ask, where did you learn that from? That there's not enough, like there's a shortage, like, this is all I have and it has to stretch, it has to go this far and my bills are this. See, your mind is always focused on not enough and then going out. How about focusing on it's coming in? And there's always a constant flow of coming in. And someone can absolutely be a receiver. And I've had people in your shoes and beyond, and they were living in their car, and they were on one of these calls, and just being on the call within 24 hours, if that, somebody either gifted them the package and a session, or a check showed up that paid for it. So be open to receiving from God, the universe, the angels, a special.
I do that at my angelic team a lot.
Right.
Yeah, they're very supportive.
Right.
Yeah.
But they're going to support you in a different way now, okay, that you're not expecting. And that's another thing Patrick was saying, what opportunities are going to show up. Grab them. Stop stopping yourself and grab them. Okay?
Okay.
I'm very powerful with this. So if I was there, I'd be this teacher with the stick. And so a lot of people say, you're tough, but you're tough love, and you changed my life. So with Patrick here and his vibration going out, okay, believe me, something shifted in you the moment I opened your line. So rather you need a sleep cycle or whatever it is, I'm just gonna send that out to you, and I want to hear back from you. I want you to email me and let me know what happens in your life, because I want to share it with Patrick, because something's about to happen. So get ready.
Good.
Get ready. Social Security is not all there is. All right?
Well, I'm retired, so what,
You're retired, but the universe isn't.
I get support from my son. He gives me gifts.
Mm-hmm. Well, be expecting an early present.
Okay. I welcome that, definitely.
So I'm reminded of the book Illusions by Richard Bach. I'm sure most of you know that book. If you don't know that book, I absolutely think you should read it. It's awesome. But one of the lines in that book is, argue for your limitations, and sure enough, they're yours.
Mm-hmm.
And, quite often we argue for our limitations. We define ourselves in terms of our limitations. We think of them as being built into our system, and therefore they're never going to change. That's often what I refer to as a victim identity, where you say, this is who I am. This trauma, this thing that happened to me in childhood, it defines me as a person, it defines my life. Poverty defines me as a person, it defines my life. Living in lack, not having enough, it defines me as a person. And then once you get into the mindset that you are by definition that limitation, then you have all the evidence in the world in your mind that it's true, and you end up arguing for your limitations. You say, this is who I am, it will never change. I want it to change, but I wouldn't know who I am without that limitation anymore. And that's a mindset that is very disempowering, but not too hard to shift. When you develop an awareness of who you are, who you truly are as a being of light, then you recognize that those limitations are just stances. They're fear-based stances, or they're lack-based stances that we take on because we've forgotten who we truly are. So I want everyone to remember who you are, who you truly are. You are not your trauma. You are not your bad experiences. You are not your ex. You are you. You are powerful. You are a being of light. You are a child of God. You are God. And you can step into that power. And then define yourself in terms of that power and say, this is who I am. I am a creative force of nature. You are a creative force of nature. And every thought that you have, every thought, every belief, every judgment, every expectation is an act of creation. All of your thoughts, beliefs, judgments, expectations, negative memories, all of them go into your creative force. And when you have a limiting set of beliefs and expectations, you actively create those limitations in your life. So recognize your power, recognize it, all of the conditions of your life as they are right now are, in a sense, created by your expectation that those things might happen, or your fear that they might happen. And step into your power, embrace your power, and recognize that you can create something completely different for yourself. All you have to do is change your thoughts, your beliefs, your judgments, and your expectations. It's a tall order. So in the age of Pisces, the previous age, I mentioned earlier that the dominant paradigm worldview in the age of Pisces is three-dimensionality, linear time, linear space, and an external viewpoint on the world. So if you wanted to create something for yourself in the previous age of Pisces, you had to manipulate the external world in order to create what you want. You have to move the chess pieces around on the board in front of you and convince other people to do things your way and compete with other people over limited resources in order to wield power in the age of Pisces. The age of Aquarius, which we're emerging into, and it's a process that takes several hundred years to make that shift, the age of Aquarius has as its worldview higher dimensionality, the interpenetration of everything, the recognition that we all flow through each other, and that there is no distinction between you and God. You are present in every single molecule in the universe, and everything in the universe is inside you. That is interpenetration. So the age of Aquarius is a call for us to turn inward rather than be externally focused. And your source of power isn't in what you can manipulate in your external world, which is the way we did things in the age of Pisces. Your source of power is your thoughts, your beliefs, your judgments, and your expectations. And if you change your thoughts, change what you focus on, change your belief systems about who you are and how the world operates, change your expectations about what's going to happen to you, and change your judgments of good, bad, right, wrong, and so forth, then you will create an entirely new world for yourself that is in alignment with your dreams. So we are called to turn inward and change our thoughts and our beliefs in order to create something that we want. And the package that I presented is all about how you turn inward to take control of your internal energy so that you can begin on autopilot, generating the life of your dreams. So everything in that package is designed to shift your thoughts, your limiting thoughts, beliefs, judgments, and so forth, and embrace empowering ones in their place. And it can be incredibly transformational. So I highly recommend it. It works for me, and I've seen it work with a lot of my clients. Now, of course, your traumas define what your weakest points are in your life, where it's hardest for you to shift your energy. So you may have one arena of your life that's stuck, and yet everything else is flowing. But as you unstick everything else, you tend to make rapid progress in that one area that's been holding you back, such as finances. So even if you're listening to the package, and let's say there's an attunement for empowered relationships, well, that attunement for empowered relationships is also going to help you shift financially. They all interpenetrate with each other, and they all empower each other. I have known lots of people, myself included, who lived in financial lack, not because I was stuck financially, but because I was horrified of romance and relationships. And for me, and for several other people, my subconscious mind did a calculation, and it decided that the best way to avoid romance is to never have any money to pay for a date. So the financial issue wasn't even financial, it was romance related. So every single attunement in that package, even if it on the surface has nothing to do with finances, can empower your financial life, because it's all about taking back your power. So everybody, please turn inward. Please recognize that you are your source of power. And all of those external sources of power that you've been turning to, you don't reject them. You don't say they don't exist anymore. You recognize that they're there to support you in you embracing your power. So I hope everyone is on board with that. So thank you for letting me go on a really long riff there.
That's okay. I really appreciate that, because it, helps all of us here. And, we realize that you coming from the male perspective, also, being open to share your vulnerability, and you're not afraid to do that, which is also a reason why I have you on the call, because I decided that I would only call in positive, powerful, healers, all right, that I have worked with, that I've listened to. My intuition immediately knows if this person is authentic, or they are copycats, or they're just here, to speak some stuff into the airwaves and actually, hurt people. So I'm not allowing that. But right now I want to try and unmute an anonymous caller from area code 743 and see how we do there. 743, can you hear me? Sometimes they freeze. Okay, we'll try another caller. They might be just listening. They do that too, which is fine. All right.
Yeah, we're also getting hit right now with a massive wave of solar energy from solar storms.
Yeah.
And that might be disrupting electronic systems.
Yes, it does. And it shut off Facebook and all that stuff. You were talking about Facebook.
One reason to be grateful for the solar storms.
Yeah, you got it. It shut off the gas pumps over here. People were panicking without their, Facebook and their Instagram and their chatters, and I'm like, okay, we never had that before. We were fine. So we need to, go back to the earth and ground and take a walk, take a break from that Facebook thumbs up, thumbs down thing. So let me try and unmute Shelly here. See if Shelly can speak. Come on, work with me. This thing is like frozen. Unfreeze. Now you got it freezing, Patrick. It's all your fault. Let me see. We're gonna try it over here. Nope, it's coming up in a question. All right, so let's go to Becky. See if I can get Becky unmuted. Becky, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good.
Awesome.
Somebody's alive. Whoops. She dropped off and she'll be back on.
Oh no, what is this blockage?
Lovely, we love it.
We're being blocked from anyone asking a question.
I know. Let's clear that,
Oh, that's interesting. I'm fairly convinced.
Let's see. Let's try again. All right. Let's go with Becky again. Hello, Becky.
Hi. I'm here. Are you there?
Yeah.
Love this technology. It's been crazy, hasn't it?
Hey, we made it this far. We're going the rest of the way. So how can Patrick help you?
Yeah. Yes, I've been, on this journey, and I've really been working on myself. And I know that it's within, and just checking to see what else may be blocking me, or, I've really been trying to take back my power and really stand in my truth. And just checking to see what else I could be doing to become more authentically myself.
So as I'm feeling you energetically, I feel like you've been punched in the stomach. There is a ball of energy in the pit of your stomach, kind of above the power center, right at the diaphragm. And I want to release that for you, because one of the things that's happening here is that ball of energy that is right there at the diaphragm is really preventing the flow of energy between your power center and your heart. And I think one of the things that would really benefit you is to expand your heart, expand the heart chakra so that it fills the entire torso. And that way your throat and your power center are both inside your heart. And to help break down that blockage at the diaphragm. I'm also feeling shortness of breath with you, like being punched in the belly knocked the wind out of you. And of course, that feeling of being short of breath, that stimulates the autonomic nervous system. So you need a little bit of autonomic nervous system balancing. And I want to offer that to everyone right now. So as I'm connecting with everyone and helping balance the autonomic nervous system, with you in particular, what I'm doing is helping the energy flow from your heart into your power center and up into your throat. So that when you speak everything you speak, when you speak your truth, when you share your truth with the world, it's coming from a place of unconditional love. And in your power center, that is also infused with the unconditional love that resides in your heart. Now, you have, apparently, because of this blockage in your power center and above it towards the heart, it's very difficult for you to receive something unconditionally from somebody. So the feeling I'm picking up is that when somebody gives you something unconditionally, there's often a calculation in your mind about what you owe them in return, or you feel beholden in some way. And every now and then you reject gifts from people, energy gifts from people, because you don't want to owe them something in return. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so clearing this blockage between the heart and the power center, it feels like because of that blockage, it's an either or type of thing. So when you receive a gift from somebody that is unconditional, it's something that increases your power and increases your heart, the flow of energy through your heart, and it's like you have to figure out which one it is, but it can be both. And you can just graciously accept and receive the gifts that people are offering you without feeling like you're uncomfortable or you're awkward or there's a scorekeeping going on and they're going to resent you because you haven't given them something in return. Let's just let all that go. And open yourself to receiving. Okay, does that feel better for you? Does that help?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. My grandma that passed away a couple weeks ago, it was always like, if you didn't always give to her, you were on her bad side. So you always had to overcompensate to make her feel good so you could be on her good side. And
wow.
And before she passed, I was just like, no more. No more trying to appease everybody. And then even my voice, so my whole journey, I've worked on my voice because I've been shut down my whole life. So the whole thing that you're talking about with my throat to my heart to receiving, it's like if I give to somebody or if somebody gives to me, I feel like I have to give them back to make them feel better so they're happier. And I just can't receive just generally. But I've been working on that, and what was kind of crazy is 2 days ago I got the message to check my front door because there was a package on my door, and I'm like, no, there's no package. I didn't order anything. And then I go to check to leave, and there, sure enough, there's a package at my door, and I open it up, and there's 6 white sage sticks that I didn't order. There's from nobody. There's no nothing, no notes, nothing. And at that moment, I was so happy to just receive it. And like, it doesn't matter where it came from. I'm just so grateful I received something. So it's definitely shifting and changing. And I think with what you're doing is just helping it to come through even more.
So that was a beautiful healing experience for you, because what happened there was you received a gift, but it was anonymous. And therefore you were able to just enjoy the act of receiving. I would guess that if there were a note attached saying this is a gift from so-and-so, you would have a little bit of panic, wondering, oh my God, now I'm beholden, now I have to do something to say thank you. And thank you wasn't enough, I have to give them something, and I'm embarrassed because I didn't think of them first. So that's a beautiful gift that you received, where you just got to enjoy the pure joy of receiving.
Yes, and I'll take more of that, please.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I love that. That's awesome. All right. Patrick, we have a question here, okay, from Apuva. What are the best ways to give back to the earth?
Interesting.
Yeah.
My mind went to a morbid place first, because of course the best way to get back to the earth is to die, but that's not what we're
No,
looking for
chocolate, diamonds.
Yes. So you were actually never disconnected from the earth. You were of the earth. You were born from the earth. The earth is you. So there never is a disconnection there. Ultimately. So just recognize that you actually are of the earth, and that can open up your connection with the earth even more. There are lots of things that we feel disconnected from. And that question always throws me a little bit, because people say, how can I reconnect with my higher self? Or how can I be connected with God? And my mind always goes to, well, you're never disconnected. You are. You are your higher self. You are infused with God, and God is infused in you. And it's the same thing with the earth. You and Pachamama are one and the same. You're a mode, you're a dimension of Mother Earth. So just recognize that you are connected with Mother Earth, and then just feel what that connection is. Feel how the energy of Mother Earth flows up through the soles of your feet and into your body at all times. When you begin to notice what's already there, then you'll never question whether you're disconnected again.
Yeah, and then they wrote in, since we consume plants, minerals, etc., how to give back to the earth, right? So what's so great about what's so great about Mother Earth is it rains, right? And when it rains, it waters the soil and the rivers and feeds the birds and gives us water and many, cleansing benefits. And it also continues growing those plants, right? And so it's like the universe, God, the angels are all working constantly, okay, to replenish the earth, replenishing us constantly trying to get our attention. And I heard a healer say they'll go outside and offer chocolate. That's why I said chocolate to the earth to sweeten it up. And I thought, how beautiful, okay? Some people will go outside and put their gemstones out there during a full moon or a blood moon or pink moon or whatever moon we have. So whatever way you feel, is beautiful for you. Like you might have a garden and you eat the tomatoes and the lettuce and the carrots, right? And then the rain comes down, waters the earth again, and it regrows the seed. And each one of us, I believe, are a seed that was planted, right, in our mother's womb. And then we grew and we became this living being, right? And now we are vibration, right? But the question I have is, what are we matching our vibration to? Our experiences, right? So I would rather experience, fill in the sentence, right?
Yeah. Now
So,
let me jump in really quickly just for Apurva. There is a very, very strong sense of musicality around you, and singing love songs to Mother Earth, I think, would really make you feel that deep connection.
I love it.
So love songs to Pachamama, or just play music that celebrates Pachamama. I think you would really benefit from that.
Oh, that is so nice. It's like, now you make me want to play my music. I love my upbeat dance music, my disco music. It also balances the energy in the home. And if you're feeling dragged down, off balance or out of center, sad, depressed, lonely, scared, whatever that is for you, turn on some dance music, upbeat music, a comedy, a cartoon, something that just makes you laugh, that makes you feel better. I know music, everybody on the planet, animals even react to music. Plants, you can play music to your plants and they respond. I feel in our future, it's going to be a lot of vibrational, energetic healing that's going to take place on the planet. And we're going to be using a lot more of it. So with this package here, Patrick, you have put in some kind of music in the background. Is that what you said?
There is. Oh, I did use some. What did I use? Monaural beats, not binaural beats, because binaural beats require you to use headphones. So I used monaural beats so that you can either listen with or without headphones. And I set them at the Schumann resonance, which is the natural vibrational rate of planet Earth itself.
Ooh.
The Schumann resonance, the natural vibrational rate of planet Earth is 7.83 cycles per second. And coincidentally, or maybe it's not a coincidence at all, 7.83 cycles per second is in like dead center for the theta brainwave state. So when you are asleep and dreaming and you're having like these luscious, vibrant, even lucid dreams, your brain is at the Schumann resonance at that point. So that's what I've encoded into the recordings.
Beautiful. We all need that. And since I moved here, I don't know what it is. And I'm not alone because I spoke to people out there. Since I moved into this home, I cannot sleep more than 4 hours. I don't know what it is. And I spoke to my neighbor across the street. And now this drives anybody crazy. She'll go to bed at 8 o'clock at night and sleep until 7 a.m. Explain that to me. I mean, I don't know. And then I talked to someone else, they're like, I sleep about 2 hours. I'm like, and then we need to take a nap. And it just, I don't know what it is. When I was in upstate New York, I could sleep like a baby. And I said, is there a vibration in Florida that keeps certain ones of us awake? I'm not on alert. I'm not in fear mode.
So let me ask you, is it limiting you?
Sometimes you get angry, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, oh, I was just in a deep sleep. What woke me up? Why am I awake? I want to sleep today. Yeah.
But during the day, does it limit you? Does it make your life worse to be getting less sleep?
No, not really.
So let it go. Yeah, your body is doing what it needs to do on its terms, and that's fine.
Okay, because my sister came down here, my mom, and she takes those pills, whatever they are, and off to bed at 8 o'clock at night, wakes up at 6. I'm like, okay.
Awesome.
And I decided then, I'm like, you know what? I can't go to bed at 8, 9, or 10. They say go to bed by 10. I can't. Because if I go to bed at 10, I'm up at 1 or 2 in the morning, raring to go. I'm like, hey.
Yeah, so just come into alignment with your body's natural rhythms and needs, and you're doing just fine.
Oh, because I was like,
you don't need to, Now, that's one of those belief systems. I mean, it is definitely true for a lot of people that they need 8 hours of sleep, otherwise they're not healthy and they don't function well, but it's not universal. And it varies throughout your life. You go through phases where you need more or less sleep. So 5 years ago, I was in the phase where 4 hours was more than enough. And I get 4 hours of sleep every night, then I get up and go hiking and never needed a nap. Now I'm at a phase in my life where I need 7.5 hours a night. And that's just where I am right now. And it varies over time. So if it's not limiting you in your day-to-day life, then embrace it.
No, I just get up and I'll work, I'm cleaning the home, music's on. Sometimes I get woken up by spirit to help somebody online. Things like that do happen. But now I'm like, okay, I'm into the phase of shifting the house a little bit, changing it up, because I work with feng shui and energy a lot. So I'm working on that and decluttering, which is a big thing, and getting rid of things you really don't need. And I pile them up and I'm giving them away. So they won't show up at your door in a package like that lady got. They're just going out there. Just gifting people, wherever I go. And I find that, giving these valuable items to people, it lifts their day, it lifts their spirits, to receive something. And it's not Christmas, it's not their birthday. It's just, hey, this looks like it will fit you. You look like you need an angel today. Something like that. And people smile, they'll laugh. It's good to share things with people. We have a couple messages from Christopher here. I'm going to read the last one. I like Patrick's meditation that invites me to change my story about how tired I am and allow myself. Where'd you go? He bounced again. I think that's when it bounces on me. I gotta scroll all the way down, chat. There's no way to hold it, but all right. Allow myself, my story. All right. How tired I am and allow myself to trust that my body will get what it needs. My story is enough to keep me tired. Well, you shouldn't keep your story then. Give it away to the earth. Would Patrick be able to shed light as to why I fear intimacy with others and the associate guilt to receive?
That is big. Do we have all day?
Yeah, right. No, that's in this package here,
there are lots
definitely.
of blockages there, but it's for most people, the inability to share intimacy is because of just the intolerability of vulnerability. It's impossible to be intimate, truly intimate with somebody else without having your vulnerability on full force. So there are all sorts of protective layers and so forth that whoever wrote that seems to have, that makes it feel intensely uncomfortable and vulnerable, and that blocks intimacy. So the feeling I get is that social encounters with people and casual encounters with people are perfectly fine, but when you get too close, then, oh my God, all the alarm bells go off, because then you're really exposing yourself to another person, and that hurts.
Yeah, it may have came from a shock, trauma, breakup, something like that, something they learned too.
There's a lot of trauma here.
Yeah. So they want to know, if Becky wants to know if this package would help them with receiving and getting more into my power, as we discussed.
Well, that's yes, that's what the entire package is. It's all about stepping back into your power.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why we're here on this call today. And, even though some people are in listening mode or frozen mode, which is not your fault, it was something, the universe was doing, adjusting some of the frequencies out there. And as we are not even aware of with the solar things going on, the moon shifting, the planets are shifting, people's thought patterns going up there. We have things interfering in space. We're meddling up there all the time. We have cables going up there, so when we're in this zone down here, we have to stay grounded. We have to stay intimate. I'm going to use the word intimate with our vibration. You have to love your vibration, right? You have to love you exactly as you are, right? Don't limit yourself. Don't judge yourself no more. I love myself exactly as I am. Even if I got a gray hair, even if my tummy sticks out, even if my, leg has a vein, I'm just saying these things, right?
Yeah.
Right?
So loving yourself exactly as you are right now is incredibly empowering. But a lot of times people have a misconception about that. They think that if I love myself exactly as I am right now, I'm never going to grow and change because I'm supposed to embrace all of my limitations. But that's not what it's about at all. You love yourself exactly as you are right now, even though there are things that you would like to change about yourself, and then you take action to change those things in order to love yourself even more. So if something is limiting you, if you can look at yourself and say, I love myself exactly as I am right now, but I have this pattern that's limiting, then that self-love empowers you to change that limitation rather than just accepting it because that's what self-love requires. And it really doesn't. So, a lot of times when I tell people that, I get pushback. They say, oh, if you love yourself exactly as you are right now, you'll never grow and change because why would you? You love yourself as you are. But that's really not the way it works.
No, you're accepting your, existence right now, that you're here for a purpose. And every day I feel like we're changing our mindsets, our vibration, our direction, our goals change. So, wherever you're at right now, that's what I'm saying. Wherever you're at, whatever situation you're in, all right, love your vibration, all right, that you're in. It belongs to you. You are the owner of your vibration. So with this offer, Patrick, what you're offering today is the next vibration, the next level, the next session, all right, of, your growth. We're all in growth, right? Just like the plants. They're in constant motion. We're in constant motion. Even if you are in a sick bed, you are vibration. So if you're sick, mentally, physically, spiritually, whatever, that's why this package is here. We cannot even put a price on our well-being. All right, there is no price that we can put on our well-being. So keep your vibration, all right, and say, okay, right now I'm vibrating in this, and you name it. I'm not going to name things. It could be surplus, right? And I love it, all right? I accept it. That's what I'm talking about. Accept where you're at, and then you can grow. But if you're fighting it and kicking at it and trying to push it away and get rid of it, it comes on more. You get more, and we don't want that. So with this package that you're offering today, it is going to help us to embrace the truth, embrace the facts, and let it go with ease and grace. That's what I see in this package. And I'm wondering, Patrick, if for those of us that are still here, if you would gift us with a short little process and, whatever you feel, and then we can end our beautiful call today because I know you have a lot of things to do.
Thank you. Well, is something coming to mind for you? Some area to work on? Because it's huge. Let me feel
Thinking like self-love, And there's something about an imposter syndrome.
Okay, so we're going to do an attunement to transform judgment into discernment.
Wonderful.
So this is flowing out of what you were just talking about. When you're in the energy of judgment, you're basically condemning parts of yourself that you don't like, or you're condemning conditions that you don't like. So it's the energy of good, bad, right, and wrong, and so forth. And a lot of people find it difficult to love themselves unconditionally when there are those judgments there that say, yeah, but I dislike this about myself. I wish it were gone. Discernment is not about good, bad, right, or wrong. It's about recognizing whether something is limiting or liberating. And if you find something that is limiting you, you take action to clear it away rather than going into the energy of judging it and condemning it and hating it and having a grudge against it and so forth. You just recognize there's a limitation and you do something to fix it. So judgment is a three-dimensional quality. It is an age of Pisces energy. Discernment is what you get when you take judgment into the higher dimensions. And those judgmental elements of judgment fall away, and it just becomes a recognition of whether something is limiting or liberating or neutral. So let's do a light bridge attunement for transforming judgment into discernment. We can release those judgmental elements of yourself and embrace a deeper awareness of whether things are liberating or limiting, free of judgment. In this way, when you look at yourself in the mirror and see something that you might want to change, rather than going into the judgmental self-disgust that you might feel, instead you can just recognize, ooh, here's something that I would like to change to make myself even better. Okay, now as I mentioned before, we create our reality in part through our judgments. Your thoughts, your beliefs, your judgments, and your expectations and other elements as well. And your judgments are those belief systems about this is good and that is bad, these people are us and those people are them, and so forth. So as you transform judgment into discernment, you increase your power, because then you just neutrally, without emotional negativity, you can respond to what's in your environment based on whether it's limiting or liberating. Beautiful. Everyone take a deep breath and hold it for a moment. And release when you're ready. Okay, thank you, Marlene.
Thank you. That was awesome. I want to thank you for, coming here today and spending your precious, valuable moments with us all. And everybody send some loving energy to Patrick right now.
Thank you
for supporting us. And I hope, Patrick, that you will come back again, because I know the group of people hasn't gotten enough.
Thank you.
The coming year, like I said, is going to be very active. So people are going to be searching for your kind of help with balancing a lot.
Awesome.
A lot of opportunities are going to come forward, and they're going to ask for assistance with which one. So that's going to be a lot of energy coming on. We're going into a water tiger year. Think about a tiger. So, okay, and add a little water there, movement, and a tiger roaming back and forth. The tiger is busy, all right? And he does take a nap. So when we take our nap, it will be on a call like this. We'll come to rest. So I want to thank everybody. I will be sending out a couple of emails for everyone. Please make sure that you share the things that we have spoken on this call today with your friends and family members, your social media, if you like Facebook, Instagram, your chats, whatever that is, because people need this help. They need the support. And Patrick is open and available to also sharing a session with people. All right. And I'll put that in the email too, where you can connect with him. And if you'd like a session with him, you can go right ahead and, align with that with Patrick and make an appointment. I'll tell you, it's one of your best investments you'll ever make in your life. And people that have worked with Patrick will attest to it. There's thousands of testimonials, right, that back you up. So thank you so much, Patrick. And we will speak again very soon. Thank you, everybody. Have a beautiful day. I know you will, because you are awesome people.
Thank you so much. Love, light, and joy to everyone here.